Do they not know, like, when she was gone, it went back to the year before she was in the league?
Former NBA All-Star Gilbert Arenas isn't staying silent anymore. He's calling out those targeting Caitlin Clark, and his message cuts deep. While Clark continues to break TV records, pack arenas, and drive massive growth for the WNBA, some players seem to be working against that momentum. Arenas' warning couldn't be more direct. This isn't just about Clark, it's about protecting the league's future. Undermining its biggest rising star could cost the WNBA everything it's worked so hard to build.
A proposal from the league, which was honestly a slap in the face.
WNBA players are heading into what could be the most critical negotiation of their careers, the next collective bargaining agreement. The stakes are sky high, tensions are bubbling, frustrations are spilling into the public, and both sides seem braced for a major clash. But here's the twist. This power play might end up being one of the biggest missteps in recent sports history. Many players may not realize just how much they're putting at risk. Caitlin Clark has brought unprecedented attention, sold-out arenas, and surging TV ratings to the league. But all that momentum could unravel if things go sideways in this negotiation. And while some inside the WNBA seem unaware, fans and analysts are already raising red flags. The whispers about Caitlin Clark starting her own league, they're getting louder. What once sounded like pure speculation now feels like a serious possibility. Given how this season has played out, Clark might soon have no choice but to take matters into her own hands, and that could shake the foundation of the league. As we know it. In just a moment, we'll break down Gilbert Arenas' bold comments and examine why a major shift may be closer than anyone expected. So stick around, and let us know in the comments. Do you think Clark should build something of her own? Drop A if you're on board, and don't forget to like the video so more fans can hear what's really going on.
If y'all don't give us what we want, like, we sit out.
That's a possibility, for real.
This clip. Angel Reese and Dejanai Carrington speak with confidence about the upcoming CBA negotiations, before the season had even tipped off. But let's just say, the public didn't exactly rally behind them. To be clear, it's not that fans are against WNBA players fighting for better pay. That conversation is long overdue. Everyone agrees progress is happening, and it should. After all, it's hard to justify Caitlin Clark making less than someone running a car wash. But what really stirred the reaction wasn't the message, it was the tone. The bold delivery, the sharp attitude, and above all, the growing sense of disconnect from where things currently stand. Because whether some want to admit it or not, the balance of power in the league has shifted. And right now, all eyes and leverage belong to Caitlin Clark. We don't need spreadsheets or revenue charts to prove it. Just watch this clip. It tells the whole story.
She came into the league, obviously interest went way up and some of the finances went way up, but there was some argument that it was a little bit of, a rising tide lifts all boats. But here we go with Caitlin Clark, singularly, being missing for the time she was gone, and ratings tanking, 50% in some cases. And then also she comes back and reminds everyone how spectacular she is. And everybody's talking about the WNBA. So if you needed to sort of have it affirmed to you that it is just her, that the singularity of her is what we are talking about and her star power.
Say it out simply. When Caitlin Clark steps on the court, the numbers skyrocket. When she's not playing, ratings drop fast. This isn't up for debate anymore. The data speaks for itself. But here's where it gets complicated. As Clark continues to drive record viewership and bring national spotlight to the WNBA, some players haven't exactly responded with open arms. Instead, there's been growing tension and, frankly, visible envy. Week by week, that friction is becoming harder to ignore, and for many fans, the All-Star voting was the breaking point. It didn't just feel like a snub, it felt like a clear sign of just how divided things have become inside the league.
Best guard in the league, don't try to give me the excuses of, well, she's been struggling lately, or she missed some games with injury. Come on, this is insanity, and I think it's an activist vote by the women of the WNBA who simply cannot stand her success. It's so dumb and it's so childish.
Caitlin Clark didn't just lead All-Star fan voting, she dominated it. But when it came time for the player vote, the story flipped. Shockingly, she didn't even crack the top 4 among guards. In fact, she came in ninth among guards alone, and that's despite putting up MVP level numbers as a rookie, all while navigating a brutal schedule, constant injuries, and relentless defensive pressure. Let's be honest, teams aren't treating her like the 9th best anything. She's double-teamed the second she crosses half court. She's the focal point of every scouting report in the league. But here's where it gets real. Every time players or insiders downplay Caitlin's impact, they're not just taking a shot at her, they're pushing away the massive wave of fans she's brought into the WNBA. And once those fans feel alienated, it's not just about declining ratings. The league loses a once-in-a-generation chance to convert them into lifelong supporters. Right now, a growing number of Clark's fans feel like outsiders looking in. Some are even rooting for her to leave and build something new, because they don't just want her to thrive in the WNBA, they want her to rise beyond it. That divide is only getting wider, especially with whispers of a possible player strike. If that happens, the league risks losing its newest and most passionate audience, maybe for good. And here's the twist. The players leading the charge in these negotiations may have more at stake and more personal bias than they're letting on.
Let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. The owner of a competing basketball league is negotiating the salaries of players who are playing in the league they're competing against? But KC, Unrivaled isn't competing with the WNBA. Unrivaled was launched so WNBA players had the opportunity to make six-figure salaries that they could never earn in the WNBA. I'm pretty sure that is the definition of conflict of interest.
Brina Stewart and Nafisa Kalyar leading the league's collective bargaining negotiations. But that's not all they're doing. They're also the co-founders of Unrivaled, a brand new pro league backed by outside investors, a national TV deal, and early commitments from several rising WNBA stars. So while they're negotiating what's next for the WNBA, they're also building what could become its biggest competitor. That's raised a red flag for many fans. It's a clear conflict of interest, one that's getting harder to ignore. After all, how can players and fans fully trust the process when two of its leaders have a plan B already in motion? For those who've supported Caitlin Clark in the massive wave of attention she's brought to the game, the concerns are growing. What if the very league she helped elevate doesn't actually value her? What if she's being used to boost attention now only to be pushed aside later? And that leads us back to Gilbert Arenas. Amid all the behind-the-scenes power plays, business moves, and growing division within the league, Arenas delivered a message that cut through the noise, a message the WNBA needs to hear now more than ever. Asterisk.
Just enjoy and go on with it. Like, think about what they was getting paid before they said, Jordan, you're the guy. What do you think Magic and Bird and all them making? Do you know how much Charles Barkley was making his rookie year before the TV deals that Jordan brung in? If you're making $40,000, every 5 months, and now you're making 80, then just do your job.
And vote for the person who got you there. Yeah, that's weird.
Gilbert Arenas still has plenty more to say, but before we get to that, let's pause and take in something that's left a lot of people stunned. Right now, the WNBA has its own once-in-a-generation superstar. Caitlin Clark is being compared to the likes of Michael Jordan, not just for her talent, but for her impact. She's delivering historic viewership numbers, selling out arenas nationwide, and pulling the league into a brand new media era. And the ripple effect is massive. Reports suggest the WNBA's next media rights deal could top $270 million per year. That's nearly $3 billion over the length of the agreement. And guess what? The league just opened early talks on its next collective bargaining deal. That timing is no accident. But here's what's hard to ignore. Despite everything Clark is doing to elevate the game, internal drama and rising tension are starting to cloud the progress. Gilbert Arenas didn't hold back. He made a powerful point. The WNBA might be so wrapped up in personal agendas and power struggles that it's completely missing the bigger picture and risking the future it's worked so hard to reach. Asterisk.
Eat, y'all eat.
Clean up. Let me clean up. I got y'all.
Like this is what you wanted. This is what you needed. That we're not watching you for your talent. Someone came in that everybody wants to watch, kids, everybody. Now we can see your talent.
This really isn't complicated. Caitlin Clark's spotlight doesn't just shine on her hit, lights up the entire league. Her presence brings national attention, and that exposure extends to every team she plays. Just look at the Indiana Fever. Even when Clark is off the court, their games are drawing over 1 million viewers, more than double what many other teams are seeing. And Gilbert Arenas said it best. When she eats, everyone eats. He's not alone in that thinking. More and more former players are pointing out the obvious. Caitlin's success is creating new opportunities for everyone in the WNBA, whether they want to admit it or not.
I think we have to understand that when one player eats, we all eat. And as we all get more opportunities, it just opens it up for everyone else. And I think Caitlin has said that even herself in certain interviews. And I love that. I love that she's not the player who's like, it's all about her. It's not. She's giving love and homage to those of us that have come before her. She shares the wealth with her teammates, and she doesn't have to do that. So I just don't, again, I don't know what the the big deal is about the fact that Caitlyn is getting a lot of love. She deserves that, and she's helped change this game just as a lot of other players have.
But according to Gilbert Arenas, this might be where WNBA players made their biggest misstep. The real mistake wasn't just underestimating Caitlin Clark. It was thinking they could criticize her, minimize her impact, and brush off her massive fan base without any fallout. What they overlooked is one critical truth. The spotlight Clark brings isn't just bright, it's powerful, and treating that power like it doesn't matter could end up costing the league far more than anyone expected.
Sitting there beating it up and doing all this, all y'all become is hated. Like, have y'all not paid attention? No one is caring about anything else. You want to beat on it, they're going to hate on it. You want to talk they're going to hate on it. Like, there comes a point where reality has to kick in. You can keep fighting the fight, and you're going to be the odd person that looks bad.
Instead of embracing Caitlin Clark's massive fan base and turning new eyes into lifelong supporters of the WNBA, some players took a different route. Jealousy and resentment gave way to subtle jabs and dismissive behavior actions. That ended up pushing fans away. These were fans eager to invest in women's basketball, ready to buy in and build with the league. But while some teams turned their backs, the Indiana Fever leaned in. Their Now You Know campaign sent a clear, powerful message. Fans don't need permission to support women's sports. They're here and they're welcome. That mindset worked. Even when Caitlin Clark isn't on the court, Fever games continue to top the WNBA in viewership. Through all the season's ups and downs, the Fever got one thing absolutely right. They embraced the people who showed up. Unfortunately, the league as a whole hasn't done the same. And now, a dangerous divide is growing. Not just between Fever fans and other teams, but between Caitlin Clark's rapidly expanding fan base and the WNBA itself. As players head into the most important CBA negotiations of their careers, many seem to assume the fans will stick around no matter what. But that assumption could backfire, because once fans feel unwelcome or disrespected, they won't wait, they'll walk away. And that's the trap being set. One with serious, long-term consequences for the future of the entire league.